Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't do an intro for this one because I'm thinking this episode is going to be a little fast, or not a little fast, a little shorter than usual. I know the last one went about a little under 30 minutes, I think, so we'll keep this one probably to 10 to 15 minutes, do a shorter form episode. As you can see behind me, we're in a different room of the apartment today, but that's mostly because I have been confined to this couch for the last week because I am very sick with the flu. Um, I am going to try my best to go through this whole video without sneezing or coughing too loud or making any excessively loud noises that are going to drive everybody crazy. But right off the bat. But as you can see from above my head, we are going to be looking at each active NHL coach and doing a little bit of an analysis and discussion. One thing that I do want to do really quick is a little bit of housekeeping again, like I do with every episode, apparently. I realize that the first couple JMO shows that I've done so far haven't really had a real definitive just my opinion style type of thing or theme to it. So from now on, I am going to add some sort of along with the analysis and statistics of it all, I do plan on having some sort of a discussion piece in it where I'm going to give my opinion based on something. In the Connor McDavid episode, I did a couple times say something to the effect of, he could be a Hall of Famer. He possibly is one of the greatest. He probably is the best currently today. Is he better than Sidney Crosby? Is he a better is he a better assist grabber than Crosby? Is he a better scorer than Ovechkin, and going into that kind of stuff. I would like to, from now on, give my personal answer on things, and in the spirit of the show, give just my opinion down there, or over there, and all that kind of stuff. So today, we're going to be looking at the coaches of the NHL Hockey League, and why is this important to be talking about right now? As everybody remembers from the first episode, if you haven't watched any of the first couple episodes, I'm thinking I'm going to start leaving links to those episodes in the descriptions of current videos, whether it be the latest or the first JMO show, as well as the latest NHL Weekly. This coming NHL Weekly, in tomorrow actually, because we're recording this on Friday the 28th, is going to actually go into detail the Vancouver Canucks side of things. But today we're talking about the Bruce Boudreau side of things, mainly the fact, again, sorry about that, the fact that he was sitting on 599 wins in his coaching career in the NHL since April of 2022. So 182 days ago, I believe I calculate, if Google is correct, 182 days ago, they beat Edmonton, I believe, in overtime 3-2, something like that. So of the previous season, they lost the last game of the season. That was game 81 of the 2021-2022 season. They lost game 82 and then have lost every game this season up until now. Last night, they finally won a game against Seattle and finally gave Bruce Boudreau his... What is going on with my camera? I don't know why it's not focusing, but we'll figure it out. He was sitting on 599 career wins. He finally gets that 600th career win. So today we're going to be talking about NHL coaches, the current team they're on, how many teams they used to play for, games played, wins, losses, all that stuff with their current teams and their previous teams, as well as their all-time stats and rankings. So I guess this might actually become one of the longer videos, depending on how well I'm feeling. Let's go over, first of all, the current coaches, and we'll go with how many teams they've been on, and then the current team that they're on. So Dallas Eakins is our first one on this list. Oh, give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Dallas Eakins, first one on this list. 2 NHL teams that he has been a coach of, and he is the current team of the Anaheim Ducks. Dallas Eakins has been a coach for 6 years, which ranks him at 96th. Andre Tourigny has only been with Arizona for 2 years. That's his first time coaching. Jim Montgomery, 2 teams that he's played for. His current team is Boston. Don Granato, 1 team with Buffalo. Daryl Sutter, 5 different teams he's played for. His current one is Calgary. Rod Brindamore, Luke Richardson, Jared Bednar, and Brad Larson, all with their first team. Whether it be Luke Richardson with only 1 year, everybody else is in multi-years. Chicago, Colorado, Columbus, and Carolina, those teams. Pete DeBoer, 5 years, 5 teams for 15 years in the league. He is currently with Dallas. Derek Lalonde, one team, 1 year with Detroit. Jay Woodcroft, 1 team, 2 years with Edmonton. Paul Maurice, 5 teams, 25 years. He is 3rd all-time for years playing, which is really impressive. We've got Todd McLean, 3 teams, 15 years with LA currently. Dean Evison and Mark St. Louis, both only with 1 team with Minnesota and Montreal. John Hines, 2 teams, 8 years currently with Nashville. Lindy Ruff, 22 years with 3 teams, and New Jersey is his current team. Lane Lambert, 1 for New York. Gerard Gallant, 4 teams, 11 years. New York Rangers is his current team. DJ Smith, only 1 team the last 4 years with Ottawa. John Tortorella, 6 different teams. I believe that is second on the list behind Rick Bowness, who we're going to get to. John Tortorella, probably the most divisive coach in the NHL ever. 21 years in the league. That's 9th, tied for 9th with Peter Laviolette. Peter Laviolette. Jeez. Philadelphia is who John Tortorella is with currently. Mike Sullivan, David Quinn, Dave Hackstall, and Craig Berube, all with 2 teams spanning between 4 and 10 years. That would be Pittsburgh, San Jose, Seattle, and St. Louis. John Cooper, one team, 11 years. I believe that is the most for a current coach to be with their current team. And Tampa Bay is the team he's currently with. Sheldon Keefe, 1 team, 4 years with Toronto. Bruce Boudreau, 4 teams, 15 years in the league with Vancouver currently. Bruce Cassidy, 3 teams, 9 years with Vegas currently. Peter Laviolette and Rick Bowness, 2 we've already talked about. Rick, 7 teams in 13 years. Winnipeg is his current team. Now, looking at the teams that some of the coaches, I'm not going to go through all of them, but some of the coaches have been with. There are only 4 active coaches that have a pretty interesting statistic. That statistic being that they have played for a team. They have coached a team twice, not like two years consecutive. There were years in between that they coached a team. That would be Daryl Sutter coached Calgary between 2003 and 2002 to 2003, and then between 2005 and 2006. I'm gonna say that in an easier way. Daryl Sutter coached for Calgary between the 2002-2003 season and the 2005-2006 season, and he is their current coach right now. Paul Maurice was in Carolina, the Hurricanes, between 97-98 and 2003-2004 season, as well as a chunk of time between 2008-2009 season and the 11-12 season. So that was 3 years with Calgary and 2 years with Calgary for Daryl Sutter so far. He's their current coach so far. Carolina, 7 years for Paul Maurice the first time, and then 4 years the second time. John Tortorella, only one season, the 99-2000 season with New York Rangers, went to Tampa Bay Lightning, won a Stanley Cup, came back to New York Rangers for 5 seasons between 2008 and 2013. And then lastly, we have Rick Bowness, one season for the 88-89 season with Winnipeg, and then he is their current coach right now. So that is the longest period of time between coaching a team, because his initial 1 year with Winnipeg was in 88-89, and we are well over 30 years later, what would it be, 33 years later, something like 34 years later, something like that. Which is just crazy for somebody to come back to a team after that long of a period of time. Games played with one singular team. Lindy Ruff played for Buffalo, 15 seasons, 1,165 games. That is the most with one team for games played. He also has the most wins and losses with a single team, 571 wins, 432 losses. I do believe he does also have the record for ties / overtime sudden death loss or shootout losses with 162 as well. Going over to points now. Let me see here. I did this a little weird. Going over to points. I don't know what I did with that one, but the points one I'm going to have to discard for now because I did something really weird with it and I don't know what I did. 1,304 points though for Lindy Ruff with one team. That is the most. Current team stats. Keep in mind a lot of these coaches, some of these coaches have been with the team for over 10 years, that being John Cooper. And some of the coaches are in their very first year as a coach. So these statistics are a wide range of people. You've got games coached. Paul Maurice is fourth all time for games coached, and then obviously you have teams that have only coached 7 games. So keeping that in mind, we have John Cooper, Mike Sullivan, and Jared Bednar. Holy crap, my nose is just full of gunk, and I can't pronounce any of these. Jared Bednar. Games played with their current team, so the team they are with right now. So Jared Bednar with Colorado, Mike Sullivan with Pittsburgh, and John Cooper with Tampa Bay Lightning all have the most games played. Jared Bednar with 461, Mike Sullivan with 514, and John Cooper with 723. Now, one thing that I will try to have you keep in mind is the fact that a lot of the more long tenured current coaches also have a Stanley Cup. But then you have other coaches on here. Let me scan this real quick. Coaches with 200 or more games. Craig Berube with St. Louis also has a cup. Todd McLean with LA. 216 games played. I don't know if that would take him back to his Stanley Cup or not. I'd have to double check. Rob Brindamore with Carolina. They do not have. That might take him back as well. I can't remember a time that I'd have to double check. And then Anaheim with Dallas Eakins, 216 games coached for them. Now, wins. I don't know why I did not highlight these numbers, but for wins, it is those same three coaches with are the only three coaches with over 200 wins. Jared Bednar with Colorado, Mike Sullivan with Pittsburgh, and John Cooper with Tampa Bay. Now, those three coaches do also have the most losses with 170, 158, and 224 for John Cooper with Tampa Bay. But you also have Dallas Eakins and DJ Smith with 107 and 105 losses. DJ Smith with his 4 years in Ottawa, 216 games played, 85 wins and 107 losses for 194 points. We are getting very close for John Cooper, 937 points. Now you have to remember every win is 2 points apiece. So if in the regular season this year, and I do want to do a postseason, a playoffs for current coaches as well, but depending on if I decide to do that during the playoffs or not is yet to be decided. We're already 17 minutes in. Holy crap. 937 points for John Cooper. There's no reason why, if Tampa Bay continues with the success that they've had over the last couple seasons. Now, this season is a little turbulent, to say the least, for them. If they can keep that train going, there's no reason why he won't end up with over 1,000 points with one team, which would be very, 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 very impressive. There was something in here that I was going to point out. Yeah, so I was confusing myself between two different stats, and I need to stop doing that. My head is a bowl of scrambled eggs. So, stats all time now. We've got 8 coaches with over 1,000 wins. Everybody else is below 723, which is John Cooper. Stats all times in games played. We've got Daryl Sutter with 1,403. And then we've got Paul Maurice, 1,692, and Lindy Ruff with 1,638, which means that points wise, though, I don't believe any of the three of them except Lindy Ruff. Nope. Okay, so Lindy Ruff, 1,791 points all time. Paul Maurice, 1,788 points all time. Daryl Sutter, 1,603 points all time. There are coaches like Peter Laviolette with Washington who has more points than Daryl Sutter with significantly less, or not significantly less games played, but about a little. I think that would be 53 extra games for Daryl Sutter, which is impressive for the Washington coach there. Going into rankings, we've got 5 coaches currently amongst all coaches ever, not just active, but all coaches ever, above 15th in wins. Paul Maurice is first with losses, which is not great. Lindy Ruff is third. Points wise, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 again, above 15th, and then for coaches, games coached all time, that's also 5 above 15th. Now, those 5 coaches are the same for each and every one of them: Daryl Sutter, Paul Maurice, Lindy Ruff, John Tortorella, and Pete Laviolette. Now, so it's pretty hard to say anything specific about, like, potentially saying, well, let's decide who is the best coach currently, because there is an award that goes out every year to the best coach in the league. I would say that is individual every year. I wish I would have thought to bring that stat up. But if I were to give my humble opinion on who I think of the 32 coaches currently, based on specific stats, I would say that definitely John Cooper is the best when it comes to the more long-standing coaches with their one specific team. So that being John Cooper, Mike Sullivan, excuse me, wow, and Jared Bednar with Colorado. Now, Tampa Bay has 2 of the previous 3 years Stanley Cups. Colorado has 1. Pittsburgh has a couple in the last couple years. So obviously, you're going to have a little bit of bias for the what have you done for me lately. So Mike Sullivan in Pittsburgh, despite the fact that he brought a lot of success to Pittsburgh, they've been struggling in the playoffs the last couple years. So there's all sorts of possibility that there might actually be a change with one of the best long-standing coaches by team in the NHL currently. When it comes to all-time amongst active coaches, it's really hard to say anything bad about John Tortorella when it comes to his stats. The way that he coaches his teams are a little controversial. And then you've got Lindy Ruff, who is 5th all-time in wins, 3rd all-time in losses, 6th all-time in points, and games coached 5th all-time. So the fact that he's 3rd in losses is pretty tough for Ruff, but the fact that he's 5th, 6th, and 5th, I believe, is the highest average, and it is the highest average amongst all other stats that isn't losses. The second closest is Paul Maurice, but he's 1st in losses all time. So it's really, I personally, if I was going to do an all time for current coaches, Lindy Ruff would have to be up there, despite the fact that the teams he coached did not produce much of anything when it comes to, like, Stanley Cup success. Obviously, there's other success with Buffalo in the late 90s to the mid 2010 or the early 2010s. Like, they had success in there, but there was plenty of time where they clearly did not, considering they only had 39 more losses, I believe, than they did wins in the time that he was there. Now, all the other coaches that are not long-standing coaches, like, obviously it's going to be a little more difficult to decide right now, but I would say any coach that has won the Coach of the Year the last couple of years obviously has the ability to throw their hat in. But for now, I'm honestly going to say that I'm undecided currently. I know that's a little difficult. Now that I've given you 25 minutes of stats, I can firmly say that I've probably given you guys enough to decide on who you think could potentially be the best goalie, the best active coach, not goalie, the best active coach currently. Uh, the biggest issue for me personally is the fact that you can be a way better coach than what your team's stats shows for you. You can also be a terrible coach and somehow just come out with a team that's great, and you know, once the team starts to diminish, you get exposed a little more. Or on the flip side, you're a great coach, the team sucks, but as soon as the team starts to ramp it up, you start to finally get some more recognition as the head coach because your team is successful. So with that, I'm going to say that currently it's a tie personally for me between John Cooper with Tampa Bay, and I would say I would honestly put Mike Sullivan and Jared Bednar in there. I know they've got the teams to back up the coach, but you really need that coach there to back up the players as well. So, you know what, definitively for you, since I put you through 25 minutes of sick Andrew today, I'm going to definitively say John Cooper is my number one coach currently in the NHL. With that, I'm going to say that was a long-winded way of me saying these coaches are pretty good, and I'm pretty excited to see how the rest of the regular season breaks down. And before I leave, I'm going to say NHL Weekly tomorrow. In the next week or so, we're going to have the first 10 games of the reigning Stanley Cup Championships list. It was a suggestion by Zachary Smith, somebody who has subscribed to the channel. Thank you very much. Hoping to hear some more in the comments from everybody so that I can do videos based on what you guys want to see, as well as anything that branches off. What else do we have? I have a first rookie season stats that I would like to do now that Slavkovsky, wow. Again, scrambled eggs, my brain. Slavkovsky is unfortunately injured. I was gonna wait until he had a point and an assist to do it, but I think I'm gonna do it now that he's out to give me some time to do that. And then any video that I do currently that could change stats wise between now and the end of this current season, I'm actually going to do like a part 2 and come back to it and see if my opinion changes at all. And then, as well as all of that, I invite you to watch any of the previous videos. And with that, I'm going to throw it over to this guy here, and I'm going to also throw this back up, and we're going to get out of here. Thank you very much for watching. See you later.